Alrighty, hey guys, we're starting to get a few people in the room over here. I want to also really give a big welcome and a shout out over here to John Custer. John, you're always the first guy in the room, but you got in really early tonight, and that's why I was saying, wow, you are definitely the first person that was in the room over here then tonight. I appreciate you being there. But and then as I always like to say, of course, that if you are on time, early is on time and on time is late. And Alan Gittleson, another one of my good buddies. Breaker Lake, Scott, and guests. Yes, we're going to be having a great time. I'm glad that you guys are here. Harriet, hey, Harriet from Michigan. Thank you for coming in, my lovely lady. And also, thanks a lot, Gino Protus, creator of so many cool things, including SciCalc, and got some dye thing. Anyhow, thanks a lot, Gino. Glad you're here, man. We're going to make sure to share this with your friends and everybody, so you know that way. And I see Katie is here also from Nyack, New York. Gee, I wonder what that last name is. Marchese. Have I heard that before? Perhaps. Hey, John, Mario's on the show. Yeah, he is incredible. And I am so glad to have him. I'm tickled to have all these guys actually on here tonight. Howdy, Tony, Anthony Darkstone. Thank you very much for being here, my friend. Let me see who else. Get a few other people over here want to start sharing this. I said, if you get a chance, hey, George Schindler over there. There's a guy, by the way, does a lot of really great kids show things, particularly as a ventriloquist. George, Dean of Society of American Magicians. Thanks, my friend, for you being in on the show here tonight then, too. Golly, let's see. Who else? Peter Brown. Hey, there's from down in Australia. That always tickles me whenever you sign in there, Peter. Thanks, mate. So glad that you're here. Yeah, Scotty is in. I'm not out there yet. Hey, Don Weiberg, up in Chicago. Okay, from Frankfurt. Thank you, my friend. One of my best friends up there in Magic up there. And Jeff Lanes also here in Houston. Howdy, Jeff. I'm glad you're here, too. Oh, my gosh, we just got 14 minutes. We're getting ready to go. Everybody, make sure your drinks are chilled and you're ready to go. We're getting the countdown ready in about 8 seconds. And so, yeah, that's right. The Dean don't do nothing. You're right. Here we go. All right. Countdown.
It's Thursday night. You know what that means. It's time for Magic and Martinis. Please welcome your host, Scott Wells.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So glad to have you over here for, what is this, the 49th week, I believe. We've been doing this, coming up just almost on a year. So glad that you guys are here. And up the road in Austin, Nick Lewin, good buddy, thanks a lot for being here. Cheers to you. I just got to have a drink. So glad you're here. And good on you, mate. John Pullum, again. Yes, it is on, and now is the time. I want to remind everybody today, as you know, who are followers then of the Magic Word podcast, that today we had just released our podcast as we do every Thursday, and this week it was with Rob Lake. And Rob, of course, is an illusionist. Last week we had, what was his name? It was something like Franz Harry or something. Oh yeah, Harari, that was it. Anyhow, Franz was my guest last week, and it was so great. And I thought, let's have another illusionist. And I got Rob Lake, and Rob was really fantastic. And we're doing these actually on YouTube as well. So if you enjoy watching the videos, if you're going to be in your car or you're out walking the dog, you're at the gym. It may not be at the gym necessarily yet, but when you do get out, that you might, or if you're staying home and you want to watch it, that is available over there on YouTube. And you're wondering what channel? Well, that's over there then on youtube.com/Texas Magician. And while you're there, you might think about possibly maybe subscribing to the channel. That'll be great. So anyhow, let me see. Let me get that back off over here. As I said, we got just a lot of other people who are starting to join us in the room. Let's see who we got. Jason Collier. Thanks a lot. This will be the best one yet. I know you do a lot of kid shows then too, and this will be really good. What's that? Peter said, boy, am I tired. Yes. Well, you are a future man. I mean, down in Australia, this is tomorrow, I know. And yeah, thanks again. And John, that's Franz Harry. Yeah, I thought that was correct the first time. Franz Harry. All right, listen, let's start to get some people in the room because we've got just a ton of stuff to talk about. And also that includes you, which means I want to make sure that you're going to post your comments. Let us know that you're here. If you're on Facebook or if you are on YouTube, please let us know. Post your comments. Let us know what's going on. Let's get the first person in over here by showing you just a little bit of a video about them. And rather than me telling you about it, this will say something about him.
All right, it's the white dog with the black spot on his eye. Oh man, and this is like a I found it in the garage. I don't know. I painted it with a stencil. You know what a stencil is? Where you have the design, and then you do and then you can peel it off. Did you see? I painted on this side. I painted tables. I painted all kinds of stuff. Hey, wait a minute. There's a dog in there, and I said no dogs allowed. I'm gonna turn him into a duck, and just like that. He's a duck. I will turn him right back into a dog. Watch, I'll turn him back into a dog. And I will tell you, if you want to know how the magic tricks work, I cannot tell you how the magic tricks work, but I will tell you, we do have magic books in the library. You can check them out, but I will tell you this, you have to practice. Practice makes perfect, practice, and lots of practice. And anyway, enough about practice. Okay, all right, here we go. Whoa, are you ready? Here we go. It seems impossible. Whoa, he's a dog again. Huh? Oh, okay, right, I did, but what do you think? It turning around, that doesn't even matter. I will turn it around. Okay, here we go. Whoa, there we go. Puppy. Huh? Oh, the other way? All right, fine. I thought you meant turn around this way. You meant turn it the other way. The other way. There. Puppet show, let's do the Oh, wait a minute. You're telling, because you want to see what the back of the dog looks like? Yeah. All right, fine. This is what the front of the dog looks like, and this is what the back of a dog looks like. I know.
Oh, wow. You got him coming and going.
Earth-shattering magic. Yeah.
It is. You got to get him coming and going. Julian, welcome. You're one of the busiest working library magicians throughout the state of Texas. You're the new JB Bobo, in my opinion. Bobo used to tour all around Texas. You're the guy now who does all that. So,
Yeah.
So glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here, Scott. Very great to be here. Thank you.
What are you having for a little libation this evening?
I have an Imperial Coffee milk stout from called Cortado from Brash Brewery right there in Houston. And so it's a really nice, it's a milk stout means they use lactose sugar in the fermentation, and it's a really rich Imperial, which means double-digit ABV, and it's got a really nice coffee brewed with lots of Guatemalan coffee beans, so it's got a really nice coffee flavor and a sort of a roasty stout flavor. It's just a really rich, thick, very nice coffee stout, kind of creamy, nice mouthfeel. But anyway,
maybe we should maybe stop talking about the kids' magic tonight and just do it on this show. That's right. Let's bring on our next guest over here, who this video will tell you just a wee bit about him.
Get ready for one of our most popular virtual shows! Using nothing but simple items kids can find at home, Virtual Science teaches kids up to 15 experiments. It's 45 minutes of interactive excitement and unforgettable fun. Call now.
All right, definitely one of the shorter sizzle reels right there. Hey, Doug. Doug Scheer. Hey, man.
Hey, you actually gave my phone number away, so I expect phone calls coming in now.
Yeah, that's right. They're coming in.
Julie, I want one of these too. The old Mac Magic stuff, 1973, I think is what that is. I dug it out when I saw you pull yours out there.
It's handy. It was right there nearby, I take it. Is that right?
I've been cleaning my basement during my virtual assembly shows, and I've gone through a lot of stuff, which is nice, cleaning out lots of stuff.
When you're doing those virtual assembly shows, do you do a different? Well, we'll get to that. Different shows. First of all, what are you drinking? What's tonight? What's on the?
I'm a college guy. I'm a college guy. So you know how it goes when you're in college, right? You gotta know what you're doing, right? So we got the salt. We got the lemon. I got two boys in college, and I got one girl still in high school. So this drink is for all of them. You know, for the boys. My daughter. I got to set a good example for my daughter still. 17-year-old blonde high school kid. You got to be trouble with her, you know?
Well, I know what you mean. You know, the idea is that hopefully you'll get just a van. So whenever she comes of dating age, that she'll have room for you in the back when she goes out on dates, you know.
Oh, good. Yeah, I got a cargo van. She's like, Dad, don't buy a white van. That's a pervert van. I'm like, oh, really? I guess that's what I drive.
Not if you put on the side of it. You got to put Fondles the Clown or something on there, you know, so that way.
That'll be wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. No, but a buddy of mine used to work at Disney. He said Disney will not allow you to be photographed with a beverage at all in your hand. So I'm drinking. It's not water in here. I'll just say that.
All righty, let's bring on our fourth and final guest over here, and this will tell you a little bit about what this guy's been up to for a while. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend, Mario the Maker. Hey, Mario. Yes, we are all bowing down to you.
Oh, Mario's muted.
Yes, he is. I don't know. Let me see if I get there. No, you're going to need to unmute yourself.
Hello. I was saying this is my homage to Del Rey, you know, the robot drinking, you know. Oh. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Julian. Nice to see you, Doug. Nice to see you, Scott. Thanks so much for letting me be part of this.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Of course. So what is in that, by the way, that he's drinking? What do you got there as far as a little libation for you this evening?
It's water.
Good man. That's a funny looking bottle there. Yeah, John was just saying Katie should unmute Mario. You know, I know that she's working on the side over there with you.
Ouch! Yes, it's true. And you know what's really funny is that before it went on, Katie's like, don't forget to unmute. You did that last time.
Yeah, like you haven't done any virtual shows or anything, you know. So I've been keeping up with anything. So anyhow, yeah, Anthony Darkstone says, very cool. Always cool. Very good. Well, listen, we got just and Tom Gentile up from Southampton. And Katie, what does Katie say about John? Yeah. Oh, he's downstairs. Yeah. So she's down there watching the show, making sure that if something goes wrong, she'll come up and say, Mario, hey, you need to be doing something over there. Hey, speaking, by the way, of doing some virtual shows and everything, I mentioned to begin with, Julian, you're doing, we're doing just a lot of library shows and everything. And then, Doug, you said you've been doing some school shows. I assume both of those have been virtual types of shows? Who wants to go first on that? Go ahead, Doug. What have you been doing there?
I'll take it first. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was hell to put it bluntly. Starting as we all talk about, March 13th, Friday the 13th last year, the rug got yanked out from under us, and it took quite a time for us to figure out what we were doing. The advantage of that was, as we kind of fudged our way through doing these virtual shows, our clients really had no idea what to expect. So we gave them what we could at the time, and then we took the months to get our shows better and better. So all the bells and whistles that we use now are what make the shows. It's like the spectacle you put on stage, just the flash pots and the fire paper, or the flash paper, and the smoke, and the lights, and the music, and the confetti. But it's all done digitally now. So I am not technically adept at all, but I dig at a stream deck. I use a virtual camera now, and yeah, it's been fun, lots of fun. I've got 4 different shows I'm doing virtually, and I'm keeping real busy with them. So I'm a happy guy right now. I've never worked harder in my life, and never had so much free time at the same time, because it's a good thing. It's a real good thing.
Do you think after this is over, you're going to have some part of your business that might still remain as a virtual show?
Oh, man, I really hope so, because honest to goodness, from a business standpoint, there's zero expenses. I took the insurance off my van. It's been parked in my driveway as a storage shed for over a year now. And so, yeah, we invest in the studio, a tiny bits of money here and there, and then it's just a profit machine at this point, which is great. As long as I have an Ethernet connection, it's rolling along. I miss being back on the road. I'm starting to get out a little bit. I was in Indiana last week, but we took a school I normally do 2 shows at, and we turned it into 5 shows, spread the kids out 6 feet apart on the bleachers. Which was a lot of work, but we're going to adapt as the schools adapt. They slowly come back on board. So it's heading in the right direction. And then I'm watching the New York Knicks game on TV last night. I'm seeing everybody in the stands packing the Madison Square Gardens, not wearing masks at all. And I think that's a really good sign that things are going to be heading back our way. Now that we see big happening, we're going to start seeing it happen in the classrooms too, I think.
Yeah, I had a show that was just in Charleston weekend before last, and I was amazed about how everyone was. It was just like the regular old times. I mean, people are shaking hands or hugging. I'm doing sponge bunnies walk around. I mean, it's just nobody's wearing masks, and it seems like everything. And that was 2 weeks ago, and exactly 2 weeks ago. And I've got my shots, so I feel good. Everything's been good. So yeah, I think we're slowly kind of getting out of this. Tell me, Julian, what about you, man? What you been doing?
I have not been working. When this whole thing first happened, I was pretty sure that it was going to be just like the avian flu and the swine flu, and it was going to be this big hype for about 2 weeks, and then it was just going to blow over, and it was not going to be a big deal. I was obviously wrong about that. But I put together a video show for last summer, and sold it a little bit. It was a lot of work and not a lot of money. And then I'm offering to resell it again this summer to a couple of clients. But I just decided to take a break and focus on just kind of taking some time off and turn it into a sort of a forced sabbatical for a year. So we traveled a lot in the RV and just kind of hung out for a bit and was kind of waiting for the live shows to come back, which they seem to finally have. I did a school show about 2 or 3 weeks ago, a live show, and then another one last week. And I've got my first public library for this summer live show coming next week. And so like you guys, it seems like it's starting to pick back up. And then I'm hoping that we can get through the summer, and it'll be the second worst summer, last summer being the very worst. And then, next school year, kick back into full speed, hopefully. So we'll see.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was that I spoke with just recently, and they were saying they've already got their summer completely booked. I don't know, and they said they had like 8 shows last weekend, and things really picked up, and everyone is really just kind of getting ready to do that and everything then too. By the way, Mario, I have greetings to you. I had a phone call from a guy who is a friend of yours, David First.
I love David. He's
Yeah,
amazing.
nice, very nice guy. And
Yeah.
he told me to tell you hello. And by the way, that Jeff Lanes was just saying over here that blankety blank cardboard robot does better Matrix than 90% of the performers out there. So.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of pandemic and changes, this robot that I built during the pandemic, I've never had a video go viral before. You build something and now everyone recognizes this more than me. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it's really interesting listening to Julian and Doug because they both chose different routes, and right. I love both decisions they both made because for me, my life is the road and traveling and raising my kids in an unconventional way where we homeschool and, we do magic full time as a family. So I can relate about the RV thing and just doing a reset. And I can also relate with that March 13th, on the other hand, going in full force and going into the virtual. That's what happened to us. We came home from a 3-month tour that week of March. That Saturday was our last public show at a theater in Baltimore, and we came home and then we lost everything. And long story short, I picked up my guitar, did a virtual dance party on Facebook. I was like, I'm not doing any magic on the camera. There's no way. And all I did was have parents comment funny things their kids are saying, turned it into a song. And from that 15-minute section that we did, that little thing, we got 2 companies that picked us up that week for residencies. What? And that carried us for 3 months. And it was crazy, because when everything relies, your whole income relies on one thing, which is live performance, it can be really devastating, when something like this happens. But the good news is that, you pivot and you learn. And just like you're saying, the live shows are coming back. Madison Square Garden, right? It's crazy. Like the masks are off. So that means to me too, how are we changing? Are we going to do the same show when we're in person again? I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of lessons all of us have learned. I want to bring my guitar into my live show. So I'm trying to figure that out now for the fall. That's when I'm starting to book stuff for in person. So we'll see what happens.
Well, wow. Now, when you were talking about you had to cancel these shows as of last March 13th when all this went down, were you working with David Blaine? You were opening for him? Is that the theater shows you were talking about?
No, that was a year later. But what happened was because of David Blaine, having those opportunities is what gave us the opportunity to book real theaters for the first time in my career. So we were really lucky. We had a whole tour where we went, down the coast, northeast side, and then we went all the way down the coast, and then we went across to California, Oregon. So we did Georgia, the Carolinas, and it was just all small theaters, like 200 seat, sometimes even a 50 seat, whatever we could get, and that's where the other half of our business, Katie, is just the genius of pitching and learning together how to work together and get these gigs. But yeah, long story short, you want to hear something? What happens? I feel like a rock star last year. I'm selling out a 400-seat theater for the first time in my life. I buy an Airstream camper, 16-foot, brand new. I'm pulling into these theaters like a rock star. March 13th comes. All my work is lost. What do? I sit there, drink coffee, stare at this Airstream every day, like adjusting the awning, closing the awning. Like, why did I do this, And, but now, thank God, because of these residencies with things like Make Magazine and Camp Stores, we're able to get like virtual work on a weekly basis. So it's been helping us. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm scared, I'm scared to perform in person again. You get used to a rhythm and now we have to change again.
Well, Mario, I got a question for Mario. You're probably finding yourself having to do a lot more stuff, though, in a virtual show, regardless of what it is, than you would do on stage. True? Yes? No? I feel you, Doug.
I see your reels. I see your pivot. You're doing the same thing. You're going, it's a whole other beast. I was talking to Piff the Magic Dragon. We've been doing videos together, and he was telling me how, you think in your brain that what you're doing on stage, you can just put on front on Zoom, but Zoom is a whole other show. I don't care how you twist it. You're going to get completely humbled, and so yeah, I mean, come on. You're pivoting. I see this science show. So what are you going to, I'm curious with you, are you going to adapt this Zoom stuff, Doug? And is it going to go into your in-person show? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I tell you, it's funny because what really seems to play so well on these Zoom shows, because I'm doing all schools, I'm peeking into these kids' classrooms every day. It's the interaction. The kids are just struggling and wanting and craving. So when I pin a kid to my screen and I ask them their name and I comment on their T-shirt and I ask them what their nickname is and do they have a cat and what do you like, better doggies or cats? That's the stuff the teachers get so excited about because. Yeah. They want the performer, the guy in TV. I mean, come on. I grew up in the late 60s and 70s, and I sat there and dreamt about being able to talk to the guy on TV. And I was afraid the guy could see me, too, But now that's happening. That's happening. So when the guy on TV can say, hey, I love your T-shirt, I mean, the kids are just, out of their mind. They think it's so cool. Yeah, so
you're right. And I totally feel that, Doug, because now parents are airplaying their phone onto a big screen television in their living room, and then the kids are right there staring at this big screen. It really is. And that's the other thing that's because television is so important to me and learning about children's television and all that. So this has been a very amazing training ground for me of how to utilize this technology, just the limitations, every angle now I use the limited. Look, I got a little magic wand robot, that comes now, delivers my magic wand, there it is. And, utilizing the negative space, when am I ever going to use this? This is the only time.
You'll figure it out.
There's nothing else, seriously. I mean, when else did I just freeze? Am I frozen? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. But I'm saying these kind of things, are only going to be relevant right now, and then they're going to disappear by January.
I think they'll totally disappear. I think they're going to continue, but in maybe a scaled back or different way.
I hope so.
But I got to tell you, your brain works with virtual. When I saw you do that electric deck and pretend to freeze, I pissed my pants. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I want to steal that so bad. Oh my God. I've never stolen anything from anybody, but I'm like, that's the one thing I will take. But it was so good.
That came out of desperation. I mean, come on, Julian and Doug, when you get in that crux where there's no word, you gotta you suffer through and so I was grabbing every prop in my drawer, I'm sure you guys too, and just what works, what doesn't. But yeah, it's a crazy thing. It really is.
Julian, you said that you had not been doing a lot of virtual things necessarily. Have you, the few things you've done, have you developed a curtain and lights and you got the sound and everything then now? Or?
Nope, not at all. I did. I recorded a show. I felt like, oh man, I was really intimidated by the whole video thing. And I thought, man, if I go into video, I'm going to be competing with Bill Nye, the Science Guy, and, Mario, the Maker. And I just don't even want to go toe to toe with those guys. I got a good thing and I know how it works. And I'm just, old dog, new tricks kind of thing. And so I said, I'm going to try to put my best act forward because I knew by that point that I had to do something for the summer. And so I recorded a show and I tried to really tighten it up. So it was pre-recorded. It was not a live show. And I made that real clear to my clients that this is just a video, a tightly scripted video. And it ran about an hour, about 55 minutes. And it had magic bits and it had funny fake commercials and it had a musical guest. And it had, it was almost like Saturday Night Live, but for kids. It was just funny skits, puppet skits. It wasn't a show in the traditional sense of what I normally do. I'm kind of like Doug in the sense that I've got an educational show that I bring into schools and libraries. And so it was a norm. It didn't really teach anything. It was just a fun show. And, but I wanted to be able to have that in there where there wasn't going to be any dead time, where I wasn't going to be struggling with, am I muted? My screen's freezing. The internet's not right. I didn't want to have any of those hassles. I wanted to just have a tightly scripted, I knew it was going to work, knew I was going to be putting my best foot forward. And so that's what I did.
That's not a bad idea. So this way, you already have something that's pre-recorded, if you will, and then you've got something that you can sell, just kind of like whenever you're going to be doing a kid show, that you got a box with your stuff ready to go for that birthday show, and then you got another one for maybe a different age group or whatever. So you have something segmented like that. So if you've got different shows that are recorded, and then you can sell those as a party, but it won't be as interactive. It's basically like watching a YouTube video in a way.
It absolutely is. No, I totally recognize that, and that there's a downside to that from the buyer standpoint, which I completely understand. The benefit to me is that I did all of my work in basically the last 2 weeks of April and the first 2 weeks of May. And then from then on, I was done. I literally just had to send the YouTube link. It's a private link to see the video. Is just send that private link and to the librarians. And then I was gone. So I was in Colorado at a boondock camping out in a place where I didn't even have cell service for about 3 weeks. And, but I was still making money. I mean, the show was still running. And so, it's has its pros and cons. All of this has its pros and cons,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love that you did that. I love that you got to travel. When in your life are you going to do that again? I mean, when is it there going to be an opportunity where you're forced to take a break? Yeah. I think that's one of the big lessons for me and a lot of people that I admire as performers. It caused us to regrow. Like the things that make us happy, like as performers, is being in front of a live audience, and then take that away. It's like you have to relearn what happiness is again, and like so for me, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, that was great. I'm glad I went through that. I learned how to be happy, without performing. But man, it was hard, like March, April, May, June, these were tough months. We were climbing. But yeah, I guess that's why they say, like, during tough times is like, those are the best times. That's when we learn and grow the most. And those are the most relevant times. That's what makes the story. That's what makes the song, right?
Yeah. A question for Julian. Julian, now that you got these packaged YouTube shows, can that be an upsell for the coming seasons where you go and you do a live show and you say, hey, librarian, you have my live show for an extra $100. How would you like access to my pre-recorded show for the rest of the summer or whatever? Are you thinking about marketing it that way?
You can personalize that for that particular library.
It down, so yeah. No, I mean, I love the idea. It seems almost like, though, I think most of the libraries seem to be in the same boat we are, which is if we can do a live show, that's really what we want to do. And if we're stuck with virtual, we'll accept it, but we really want to get back into the live show. And I think some of them want to do both because they know their patrons. Some of their patrons want to come and see a live show, and some of their patrons are still not comfortable in that setting, and they want to stay at home and do what they can to make sure that they stay safe. And so they want to make sure that they serve all of their clients. So yeah, I might have to really push that like a it's this much, but if you get both, you can have it at a discount kind of thing. I like that idea. Yeah.
I was talking with Trixie Bond about that, who does, of course, library shows and birthday parties and everything a while back. And I don't remember what it was, but I was with her and she went and recorded something that, again, can be sold to libraries by putting something on the front end. So she can say, hello, library, whatever the name of this library is and the name of the town, and kind of personalize it, and still be dressed up in the same costume or whatever. And then there'd be a nice, easy segue with the music that actually goes into the pre-recorded part. So she just has to put in just a little bit on the front and the back end saying, hey, thanks. And they can kind of play that as they will, or they can even put it on their website if they wanted to. But I think you need to have that some sort of private link, I would believe. So that way that every library doesn't see the same show, on the website, basically. But
I mean, I utilize that too with my Zoom show. I mean, not going to lie, we're talking as performers. I have segments that are pre-recorded where I transition for like 40 seconds into something that's pre-recorded. I'm wearing the same shirt and make sure my haircut's the same. And then I can just jump back live. But that really helps because I can do magic that has, that I can't do all the time, like make things levitate or things like that, where like it takes all this proper lighting and all this. And so that's a benefit too. So like, utilizing that pre-recorded element is definitely awesome.
It's so funny. I did the same thing. In fact, a big portion of my shows, I can actually go to pre-record and I can get things done in between. I made a mistake though, and this addresses John Poland's smart-ass comments he's making about my hair. He's saying I look hairy. Yes, John, I haven't cut my hair. I have to keep it at this level because when I made my pre-record science show, I kind of didn't shave and I didn't cut my hair. And after the fact, I'm like, oh crap! Now I got to look like this all the time. So I've got to maintain this grubby look, which my wife hates. She's like, would you shave? I'm like, when I start making money, I'll shave again. Yeah.
I'm curious, Mario, also during this time that it has given you a chance to kind of play with those Arduinos and doing a bunch of stuff. So what have you put together? Obviously, it was kind of funny when you said that the one little paper bag robot thing has gone viral.
Yeah.
viral things are unexpected. I mean, it's just like when producers are making movies, they think they've got a hit on their hands every time, but partway, they may not know until after, whether it's going to be taken off or not. And when did you know that was going to take off?
It's funny, like you work your whole life and like you just try to build things that connect to the world. Nothing works. Then you build some weird paper bag robot and it's like 4.5 million views in a week. And you're just like, what? Wow. Like, wait, what is the science? How do I replicate? And no matter what you do, you just can't, I guess that's what businesses do. They like hire these expertise to like create this viral video from the ground up. But it's a science that we just don't, it's slippery. Like there is no science to it almost.
But can't
But anyway.
Yeah. Can't you monetize that also? I would think on YouTube or wherever. I don't know about TikTok.
I mean, right now what we're doing is basically, if you haven't seen, I have like mini performances of Automabot, this cardboard robot. It does an under 60-second performance where I don't touch the robot. It's the robot doing the whole magic routine. So coin matrix, the blooming orange tree. I have it here. Like I built it all.
Show us something.
I never even shown this before, but this is the blooming orange tree. You can see from the back. This is all motorized and timed with another robot that's motorized and timed that vanishes objects that appear on the tree. So I'm learning, like I said, you learn to adapt. How is the audience viewing you, and they're viewing you from your phone. So what apps do they use? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What's the time period that you use it? So it's 60 seconds. And then they're looking at it in vertical, on Instagram. So you've got to format that and create a performance for specifically for the audience of what you can get right now at this time. So that's how that started. Long story short, I'm working on a second book with Make. And so that's how this evolved, was just me teasing magic tricks with robots and what to put in it, what to put in the book.
Again, I know you've been working on a lot of things. Can you show us something that does a little 60-second something or other? You got handy there?
Oh, man, I don't think so. I mean, I talk about what Doug was talking about. I don't got the pre-recorded stream deck right here. I can't switch it right now. Katie! No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I have robots. They're all here. Automabot's on it. He's got to be set up. He has a table and stuff. But it's pretty. Let me see if I can do the blooming orange tree. I'll set it up. You guys talk. I'll just show you the orange tree. Okay.
All right. I keep thinking of one of my heroes when I watch Mario talk. I keep thinking about Pee Wee Herman. I mean, this guy is he's our Pee Wee Herman of the magic genius world, is what he is here. It's incredible.
That's his treehouse right there at home. Yeah,
it is. Everything about him. Yeah, it's just so beautiful, so wonderful. Yeah.
Can I think I fixed it. Thank you. You want to see one clip real quick? Can I play one?
Here we go.
All right, let's do it. We'll do a Automabot video. We'll do the coin matrix, I guess. Let's do that.
Wow.
Can I tell you, like 7-8 days of my life, nonstop morning to night working for 48 seconds of video.
Unbelievable.
For what? I didn't even get paid for it,
Yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, it fools the crap out of me. It's a robot, and I have no idea how it's done.
That looked fantastic. That was very, very.
Thank you, Doug.
Oh my God.
Yeah, great ideas. That was very good. Or like Jeff Lane says, you can grab your guitar and we'll have a dance party.
Yes. Yes. Jeff Lanes is awesome. He always shows up to the dance parties. He's the best.
Yeah. Peter says that really looks good. I agree with you. That is. Yeah. And beautiful work, Mario. Really, really cool. And so that's just one thing that you were working on. And what are some other things that you said that little blooming orange tree? That's kind of funny because I think of the classic.
There's another a short video of Automabot performing the traditional blooming orange tree, but I don't have the remote controls. Can we play it real quick, you think? Well, can we play one more? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's see it. It's better to see it in performance.
Okay.
I'm not making any more. I'll tell you that. That was the last one I made, and that it took like lifeblood out of me. I'll just say that.
Wow. I think as adults and a little bit of engineering, all of us were just totally amazed by that. But serious question, Mario, when kids see that, don't they just go, robot, he's just a robot, and they don't appreciate it, right? I mean, is that what happens?
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Doug. And, you know the audience that I can, we are in that world. So, yes, obviously, like, I don't play those videos. This is for a different audience, it really is. It's for the grown-ups, it's for the parents, it's for the engineer dads that show up at Maker Faire. But like the stuff about like the coin matrix one, that works for like if I tease it in, But yeah, dude, totally right. And that's what I'm talking about. Where does the money come from, right? It's not making me any money. I'll get a couple likes and some comments,
It's like I'm doing linking rings in a school once. This kid starts yelling, key ring! Key ring! What's wrong with that child? What's he yelling?
Well, what about Julian? Wasn't that your clip with the dog that like flips around the hippity hop rabbit? Yeah, I mean, you're riding on that theme, right? You're riding on it. Like you're waiting for them to yell at you, and then you sucker them, right?
Yeah, if they don't yell. I mean, one of the worst shows I ever did. I had a principal come out before the show started, and had all the kids sit down, and he said, "Now you listen to me. I don't want to hear a peep out of you. Not one peep. Nothing." And I was like, "Oh man, you just ruined my show. I'm dead in the water now. Half my show is I'm screaming, look behind you, and turn around,
Yeah.
I got a quick story along those same lines. It's definitely not a one-up story because that's like the worst. I had a teacher once. I'm doing my show, and the kids just weren't reacting. I didn't know what's wrong. And I look over to my left, and there's a woman with a whiteboard, and she's writing something on the whiteboard throughout the whole show. So after the show, I go over and look, and she's got a line down the middle, and on the top, she's got two headings, and one is like plus, and one says delta, okay? And every time the kids did something good, she put a check mark next to the plus. Oh, you clapped, you laughed, you smiled, your hands were to yourself, okay? And every time the kids did something wrong, which included yelling out when I wanted them to yell out,
oh no,
you put a delta mark, which is like bad. You get too many delta marks, you're gonna go. And oh my God, I had to like strangle this woman after the show and go, please don't do that again. This is not a good idea.
Wow. I mean, that's heavy. That's heavy, Doug. I'll
tell you what happened. Some consultant sold them some $20,000 program about how to increase and improve the children's behavior, and they decided to bring it into the assembly show.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the taste
Bad
of that.
timing on all that.
That's part of life, I mean, it's crazy.
Terrible.
It's crazy, man. I'll be honest. Like my son, he's 6 years old, and he can solve the Rubik's Cube, and now in 55 seconds, he's 6, and everyone's like, how do you do it? Well, I'm not like that teacher with the Delta, but I give Pokemon cards like every time he practices, and it started with just one, every time he did a good job every day. But now I've swindled myself into like, I have to give him a pack now every time he does it, so like I've spent like, and I can't tell you how much money I spent on Pokemon cards this year. I hope they're worth something.
Yeah, but didn't I see that your son's making his own Pokemon cards now? Didn't I see that?
Oh yeah, you saw that? Yeah. Well, that's me trying to teach him, Procreate, which is a professional app for artists, and so he's designing his own ninja cards, and then we invested money and he's printing them and he's going to package them. It's like whatever kids are interested in. like just chase that into education, and you guys do that with the science, you do that with the sucker effects, you do that, whatever we can get to get that engagement, let's twist it into learning. That's kind of like the philosophy, and it's worth it. If I have to spend $300 and print out 5 ninja cards so he can learn about like product design and learning how to make and sell something, then it's worth it. I don't care.
Now, is that one of the things they discuss like at the maker festivals as well, about how to make that kind of stuff?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at maker fairs, once they start coming back in person, I mean, if you guys haven't been, it's an amazing experience. There's like 150 tables. Each table is a master maker. There'll be a welder. There'll be someone with stained glass. There'll be someone that solders microcircuits. There's 3D printing. So imagine the kids like David Rezegi. He's a great maker family. I've met him at maker fairs a bunch of times. I just commented, it changes kids' lives. My daughter, I let her go. She's 9. She went to a booth. She saw a sewing station, and now she sews felt toys, and she sells them at the marketplace in our town, farmers market downtown. And it's just about like I don't care. That's what homeschooling is to me. It's like it's breaking free from that traditional education and just going after the excitement. We only learn when we're excited, So it's just trying to do that.
Well, you tell me also, I remember there are maker fairs all over. So it's not just in New York, but I mean, they're across the nation and maybe the world, I guess.
Oh, every major city has either a mini maker fair or a major maker fair. I mean, you name a city, there's got to be. I'm doing Maker Camp this summer. So we're doing a virtual and an in-person thing. It's on Maker Camp. If you go to makezine.com, you'll see all the info. You can sign up. So many great projects that you can do at home with everyday objects, crafts that are mechanical. You learn about movement and engineering and problem solving and some coding. But you guys tease that in your shows, both of you. You guys tease that education level. That's how you sell your shows. And yes, you make money with it, but don't tell me it's just that. You guys both believe in what you do. I mean, you have a greater calling. You're not in there to get famous. You're in it because you have a story to tell,
Well, I know what Julian does. Julian was bigger in the school market before me, and Julian was really big into telling everybody. Every show he did was a reading show. Is that right, Julian? That was your big market?
Yeah, that's kind of how I started. I did started in the public libraries, and then with a reading show. I was a teacher, and then so I thought, my first show was back in 2002 or so, and I wrote a show about Texas history and. Anyway, yeah, but I ultimately that's kind of how I pitch it, is that I have a science show, but then we a show about life science, for example, we talk about animals, and then I incorporate all kinds of books about animals, and I have a show about physical show, science, simple machines, but I talk about books and inventors, and so if you can get kids excited about something like Mario was talking about, then it's pretty easy to direct them. Hey, if you like this, if you like magic, if you like this story about these amazing lizards, if you like this cool machine that we invented, we have books about that in the library. Whatever you love, I promise you, there's a book about it in the library. All you have to do is get there and find it. And so if we can keep these kids reading, then they're always adding more information, more knowledge, more stories, more stuff into their head. And so I just think that, and I think that's the root of creativity. It's just having a lot of ideas swimming around.
Yeah. Julian, you were a teacher beforehand? Sorry.
Okay.
You were a teacher first before magician?
I was a teacher for about 8 years, and then started doing this in the summer, and then it really took off. And so then I turned in my letter of resignation the next school year. I said, this is my last year. And ultimately wound up not even finishing that school year. They found a replacement for me, and I was able to help train them, and then stepped aside and went full time into the business. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So.
I love it.
I find what's astonishing too nowadays, the kids are all hooked up to their video games and their DSs and all that stuff, and they're missing the simple things we did as kids. Like the simple
playing in the dirt.
Playing in the dirt, even the simple, the vinegar and baking soda with the balloon experiment is something we all did when we were 5 years old. And I've got 7th graders that have never seen that before. Yeah. And it's like, what are we doing to our children? We're not letting them get their fingers dirty anymore. But that's what I love about Mario, and that's what I love about Julian. Get your butt to the library, you little people, because it's all right there for you. Your mom and dad aren't going to tell you, your teachers aren't going to tell you. You want to learn, you got to go, you got to do it. And that's something that kids just don't hear enough of anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. And Doug, it's even goes deeper than that, because it's not even about necessarily scripted specific experiments like the vinegar and baking soda. I mean, it's just as simple as going to a playground. When we were kids, we had the seesaws where, if one kid was heavier than the other kid, it didn't work. But then you realized, oh, wait, if the heavier kid scoots up closer to the middle, then you can still seesaw. And that's not how seesaws work anymore. Now there's a spring in the middle and it just stays like this. And so you just sort of wiggle, and they never really learn that principle of levers. And so I do a show where I get a lever out there, and they're really shocked. Even the teachers sometimes that where you push on the lever makes a difference to how easy or difficult it is to lift that load at the other end. And it's just that kind of stuff that they never get exposed to anymore. So
I didn't realize that was a fact.
Wow. All right. Dropping bombs, Julian, dropping bombs. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
The level, that's a really great example. It's true. I take my kids to that playground. I know those springs. I see them all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that down in Australia said we have a book week at our primary schools in Australia. I used to do a kid show every year with the theme for that, and teachers loved it. I would think since kids are already in a library, I thought you had told me before, then Julian, maybe Trixie or someone who is doing some library shows, was that that the librarians really want you to do magic. It's like they're already here; they're going to be reading. We just want you to do some magic. You don't have to do things of saying, "Hey, this is the book." I mean, you could read the book to them and do some magic, but is that true? So you're not spending so much time of trying to get them to read because most kids who are coming in to the library are readers.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my thought on it. To a library, a public library, they don't have they don't generate money, right? And so the way that they calculate their success is through circulation numbers and participation numbers. So how many patrons are using the services of the library? So if you like a company will say, oh, we grossed $6 million this year. To a library, they say, oh, we circulated 12 million books, or we had 185 kids participate in the summer reading club, and we had 99 of them complete the summer reading club. So these are the metrics that they use for success. And so if you go in, typically they might have say 7 or 8 magic books on the shelf. So if you go in as a magician and do a magic show, then yeah, the kids are going to leave with whatever book they were going to check out and 7 additional magic books. But if you can go in and get the kids excited about reading all kinds of stuff, then you're going to circulate books that might otherwise never have been circulated or don't have a lot of circulation. So when you pull out a classic book and you can get the kids excited about, a series of unfortunate events. They used to be like Harry Potter back in the, about 15 years ago. Now it's hard to knows a book. But you get a kid excited about that series. Well, here's a whole, hundreds of dollars worth of books that these librarians have invested in that haven't been checked out in a while. If you can suddenly get kids excited about that, then those books are now circulated. It increases their numbers without them having to spend a huge budget to buy more books. It's the books that they've already got are exciting again. And so I think that's an important thing. Plus, I like the idea of kids reading outside of their comfort zone, of kids exploring new ideas. I think that's the root of creativity. I think that's the root of all great inventions. Henry Ford didn't invent automobiles. He didn't even invent the assembly line. He got that idea from a meat processing plant. Technically makes it a disassembly line. But the point is that he took those two ideas, he put them together, and that revolutionized the world for automobile makers. And the same way with Mario, he didn't invent Arduino. He didn't invent sketch coding, but he took this idea, put it together with magic, and he's like the world famous genius. I mean, he's just and obviously Mario brings a lot more to the table than that. But what I'm saying is it's this idea where you've got the more ideas you have swimming around in your head, the more likely they are to bump together into weird new ways, and you're going to create and come up with some amazing breakthrough. And I really believe in that. And I want the kids to read stuff that they wouldn't normally read. That's my soapbox.
Well, that's why you're such a great performer, Julian, because it's not even about magic, it's you believe in the kids and you believe in the kind of innovation that makes a better society, like I never even thought about that with the books, like the idea of circulation of the book, like that's powerful. And you're totally right about the meat packing play. That's what I talk about in my lecture on creativity. You use things, you mix ideas that have never been mixed before. That's innovation, and however we can get those different ideas in someone's hands, the greater a chance for that innovation. innovation. You know, Thomas Edison said, all you need to invent is a pile of junk and a good imagination. You know? So that goes with that, you know?
Well, I remember John Cornelius saying that his favorite magic shop was the hardware store.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Or the art supply store. I gotta tell you though too, kids nowadays though, they get so depressed when they can't do something perfect the first time. They get so mad when they're not good the first time they try it. So while being creative and putting these ideas together, it could suck. I tell the kids that's awesome. If your idea is folding laundry and kayaking at the same time, that's stupid, okay? But that's awesome because you're going to find out that it's bad. So now you can do something else with it. You can go somewhere else. So don't be afraid to fail. You know, take these ideas, try to put them together. And if you crash and burn, awesome. You know, it's not going to work great for you the first time. And that's part of the whole scientific process as well, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
That is an interesting point, I think, too, that they are not being told in school that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to succeed, and everybody wants to succeed, but I don't think that children, I don't know, again, I'm not doing, kids shows like you guys, of course, but I would think they are not being taught in school that it's okay to have a failure because you can grow from that. And that's what you guys are teaching them.
Yeah, Doug, I mean, you totally twisted it, man. You're totally right. And it's something that, like, I'm going through it because I have young kids, like my son is in T-ball, and like it's his first time playing, but they don't have winners and losers, like they don't, like that you can't tag someone out. And I get it. Like you want them to learn the rules first and stuff, but you're totally right. Like it's something that like is so vital to like having a life of happiness is understanding the importance of failure. In the beginning of my Zoom show, that's what I talk about. I talk about a story about Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb. And then a news reporter comes up to Thomas Edison and asks him, how does it feel to fail 1,000 times, Thomas? That's what the newsman says. And I tell the kids, was that a nice thing to say? And the kids put their thumbs down, But, Thomas Edison was smart and he responded, I didn't fail 1,000 times. It took 1,000 steps, to get to the light bulb, 1,000 steps. And that's, like the sooner we can get kids to understand, not even kids, just all of us. Like how many times do we quit when we create a new routine? It's like, it's this painful thing that I have to relearn all the time,
Well, that's something I think, was it Vernon or somebody had said that magicians stop too soon. It's kind of like, okay, I've got it. And then they stop instead of continuing to learn and to practice something else. I remember Sean Farquhar lecturing for our club one time, and he was teaching something having to do with some poker chips. And he said, here's a great idea with poker chips. And then he showed something else. And then, he had like a dozen different ideas. And the thing is, when you're teaching someone in a lecture format, something may resonate with this person, but not with that. So if you show something else as far as the back of the room sales, you're going to eventually sell to everybody because you're going to, if you keep on thinking. So I don't know that he was necessarily thinking of these ideas to try to make them into a product that he can sell so much as it was is like, what can I do to entertain that I can put in my act? And now I'm going to share this with other people then too. My point being is exactly what we were just discussing. I believe we all stop entirely too soon when there are more things that we can do with it. And I think a lot of times when we go to a magic lecture, we will see magicians who are teaching something, and then they'll say, now this is not in the lecture notes because since then I've added this, or I've learned this, or I've added this twist or whatever, because they are continuing to learn, which is why they're professionals enough to be giving these lectures. And so I think like what you guys are doing, that you're growing also, and that you're trying to teach the kids, and also what can you do with this sock puppet? That's good, but there are other things that you could do with this or whatever then too, and trying to have them use their creativity to know they shouldn't just stop, okay, let's go on to the next problem. No, let's continue with that. In other words, they always say that when you're looking for your keys and you lose them, well, it was in the last place I looked. Well, of course it is. Why would you continue to keep on looking? Well, perhaps you should continue to look because you might find another set of spare keys somewhere or whatever. So keep looking,
It's true.
But anyhow.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys, I think part of the key to being successful, as all three of you are, is that you guys are givers. Scott, you're giving these great podcasts, entertaining people, educating them. Julian, I know that you had a team of guys. You were a giver. You wrote a book on controlling kids. Thanks for doing that. Mario, you're doing it at a whole new level with these videos and everything you're sharing in your lectures. So I think when we give more, we more, we get more. I truly believe that. So I hope you guys keep on doing it. I really do, because I really appreciate everything you guys do so much.
Well, it's a lot of backslapping here.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like when it comes to children entertainment, people that specialize, in kids and family entertainment, let's be honest. Like we're not doing it to be famous, and we're not doing it to make a ton of money, like that's why I asked, what did you do before? Like you're a teacher first. Okay. Like there's a calling, I hate to be cheesy and, but there's a bigger thing where you follow your gut. Like you have something to say, it's when you get in that mode of giving, you got that stronger foundation and you understand your purpose more. So I get it. I get it. As long as we're authentic, especially when it comes to kids, because they see through the bull crap faster than any other audience alive, and they will shout you out. That's why Doug was like, when he saw the robot, he's like, so we show this to a kid, like, he knows, he knows. Like that's, but that's the battle we fight, for the greater good,
That's true. So tell me again about where people can go as far as finding these maker festivals. Online.
Oh yeah. So what's really exciting is starting in July, there's going to be a brand new Maker Camp 2021 through Make Magazine, through Make.co. So if you go to makezine.com, we could put it in the chat. We'll put it in the comment. You can see there's all new curriculum where they're highlighting master makers for and projects that are geared from like kindergarten all the way up to like 8th grade. So it's all projects project oriented with coding, robotics. There's going to be live streams on Make's Facebook page where you can control a robot. Kids control a robot from their iPad in real time on a camera, like on screen, like on a Facebook live stream. It's pretty amazing. Utilizing these little microbits and these the Arduino stuff and how we can utilize it in real time where we can interact. And that's kind of like what Doug was talking about. He knows, like when you start that Zoom show, you spotlight the kid. You ask them, wow, look at that shirt. Like, how are you feeling today? That's the show. That's the meat is appreciation. I mean, that's the end of the day. Like the people that are flexible with their set list and they can drop their magic set routines and just highlight one kid because they're holding something, man, that's the master, that's the secret. That's the gel. That's why adults hate kids magic, because they want to stay with their routine. They don't want to bend. Kids are like flexible, they want to change things up, so it's a different format.
During this last Christmas season, I did, thanks with Tim Wise and PJ Campagna, I did several virtual Santa Claus shows. And I quickly realized it is about the child and their excitement to see Santa and everything. So I talked to them and not just, ask them about certain questions or tell them things I should know about them, but I want to relate to them and have a little conversation and try and open them up. Of course, usually they're scared, but, it's all about what you just say, of trying to interact, I think, with the child. There was a question over here that someone asked about hecklers. How do you respond to a child heckler? Which, boy, that can be another hour, I guess, actually. So let me just have each of you give your best tip. Starting with you, Julian, what would be your best tip for dealing with a child heckler? Just one thing, and we'll kind of move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'm pretty sure Doug and Mario are going to agree with this. Part of it is giving them a venue where they can heckle appropriately. If they're going to yell out, then script it kind of into the show where you say, I'm going to give them something to heckle me and a sucker effect or whatever, something that where they're going to yell out and it gives them that chance to do it. And then it ends up where it's kind of a funny ending, but it's sort of oh wow, I better watch my P's and Q's. I don't know everything that's happening here. There's another story going on, and I need to take a seat and enjoy the show.
Pay attention to that. Yeah, Doug, what about you?
Well, two things. Work in an elementary school because you've got a perimeter of security guards. You got the teachers sitting in the chairs, and those kids will not misbehave. You got the principal standing in the back. So you don't get heckled too often in a school show, at least not the kind of shows that I do, as long as the show is tightly structured with lots of action, lots of things happening. But when I used to do more public events where kids would do that, I would just acknowledge them and go, yes, what else? Yes, what else? Yes, and what? And what? And eventually they would just stop because they'd run out of things to say and they would sit down. It's kind of like the old improv thing. Yes, and, so the kid would say something stupid. You go, yes, and what else? And they'll go, well, what do you mean what else? Well, there's got to be more. What else? No, that's all. And they sit down. Because so you're acknowledging them, you're giving them credit, you're saying, hey, yeah, you're right, you're wonderful, fabulous. Now what else? Give me more. And they're like, I don't know.
They finally give up.
Yeah, they give up. They give up.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
That's a great idea. Great idea. It's kind of like, when are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? You just kind of wear them down eventually.
You do.
Mario, I mean, you work in theater shows, and that's a completely different kind of a thing than also when you're working with kids.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, like, Doug, that's, that kind of boldness, like, and pausing the whole show where everyone's eyes are on, like, you and the heckler, and doing it in a way like that where it's not degrading. You're not, like, being mean. You're just like, what else? Like the stage is yours now, really, really great way to handle that. I honestly, for me, if there's a kid that's shouting out and happens more than twice, honestly, I look at it in the picture that they just want to be heard, and they're not being heard enough at home or wherever they're at. And that's okay. Or wherever it is at school. So for me, it's like, as much as my instant reaction is to like combat it, I try to pick them as a helper for like a key routine. Like I'll pick them and I'll be like, I'll wait as long as I can, and I'll wait as long as I can. But I have certain routines where like, it almost doesn't matter who I pick. It'll just work because I have every angle already accounted for. So I pick them for that kind of routine. And most of the time they after they're done helping, they don't heckle anymore, because it's like, they just want to get picked, Yeah.
They just want to be seen.
Yeah. At the same time, Julian and Doug are both tapping on totally different angles that completely work, which I use too. Like both of those angles. There's a great performer. His name is Cardone. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's a genius. He did our wedding. He lives in Brooklyn. He's like, crazy punk rock magician, does an amazing vent bit. But one of the things I admired about him most was how he handled hecklers. We did an outdoor festival in Westchester years ago. He probably doesn't even remember this, but there was some kid heckling. And he's just like, what's up? Like, I'm going to stop the show because of you, but his character, it totally fits because his whole show's like that. And I was like, wow, I could never do that. So everyone, you have to be within your character. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and utilize that to your advantage.
Good advice. Yeah, that's great. I've had a lot of people who have really been chiming in here saying, really great show and really good stuff that you guys are sharing over here then this evening. It's been a lot of fun. We're kind of reaching the end of the happy hour. I think they've just made last call for us over here then too. So I just want to say thank you guys very much. If there are any last words, you got to drink up there, boys. And any last words or anything that you would like to add of what you plan to do, perhaps this summer or for the balance of the year, or some marketing tips or something, perhaps of how you plan on altering your website or anything else? Anybody?
I'm raising my live show prices without a doubt. I'm boosting them up probably by 30%. Just because when I started doing virtual shows, I did not lower my prices at all. I actually worked through one management team that actually raised my prices for me, which is fantastic because I paid them a percentage. But they taught me that these schools are willing to pay a lot more than I've been asking. So I'm raising my prices. That's going on my website next week because I'm starting to get phone calls for next year already. And that's how it's turning out for me. It's a fingers crossed kind of thing. But I look back at some notebooks from 15 years ago, and I did not raise my prices nearly enough over the past 15 years. So it's time to play catch up, I think. It really is.
Yeah.
That's good advice, not necessarily just for kid show magicians, but everybody else. I think, we enjoy doing magic, and the dirty little truth is we would do it for free, but we don't tell people that because we're having a good time. However, it does have value, and there are those who can pay more and have that in their budget, and we're just afraid to ask because we may lose the opportunity to have fun and go do a show. Yeah. It's kind of what I think. So you're right about that. And so, yeah, John says, raising my prices. Yeah, fabulous. I agree. Mario or Julian, any comment?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to sound like I'm just saying I'm going to do exactly what Doug's doing, but I've already raised my prices. I'm in the same boat. I thought, I've worked basically 3 days in the last 425 or something. And it hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be. And so I thought, you know what, I've really enjoyed the opportunity to travel. We've been to probably about 14 or 15 new states over the last 12 months and got to do a whole lot of fun stuff in the RV and hanging out and see some new things. And so I think that's going to be a new a new aspect of my life where we're going to raise our prices and work less probably, but travel more and kind of scale things back. My daughter's in college now, so it's easier for us to do on the road. We made some changes as far as being able to run the business from doing this all on a laptop, and got rid of the big desktop. And so have been practicing, changed the phone number, got rid of our landline. It's all through cell phone. And I know most people have got rid of their landline a decade ago. I'm slow to the game on that regard, but yeah, that's what we're doing. We're kind of doing the Doug
Not
Scheer,
necessarily
in our rates and spending more quality time with the family. So I'm loving it.
Mario, what about you? What you got planned?
I'm teasing in the live in-person show in the fall. So my goal is to take all the work that I've learned in my virtual set and understand how to adapt it into my show. I think one big thing is I hope all of us, we don't have the same show coming out of the pandemic. I hope that we learn some new lessons. I know that I learned that I can play guitar and sing and get a joke or two in there. So I really feel like I need to add that in my show. So that's my goal, is to add music into my show, live music, and to add my Automabot. It's like one of the only robots that's way more famous than I'll ever be. So I'm trying to figure out how to put him in my show for 3 minutes, and play segments on a monitor and then have him do one trick or one routine. So for me, the big goal is to change my live show and make it better.
Are you going to add the guitar, have a little dance-a-thon and everything too?
I'm hoping, if I can do it in a way that's not cheesy and stupid, I think that's the big lesson here, is how do I make it where it's relevant and it's meaningful.
Yeah. Have you got your guitar with you so you could play a couple of tunes there?
Yeah, I got my guitar here. I got my harmonica. I got my guitar.
We should have started with this.
Thank you, Scott Wells. Thank you, Scott Wells, for having us tonight. Thank you, Doug and Julian, for jamming with us. That was pretty awesome. Learned some cool lessons. Yeah, we did. Oh, I hope we make our show better. Not the show from last year. I hope we get to RV. I get to see the coast of Oregon. I hope we get to see some campfires, jam at some magic convention. Thanks, guys.
Whoever would have thought one of our greatest kid show performers of this decade will be covered in tattoos? I just love that. I love it.
I love you guys. It's so awesome jamming with you guys, man. It's so awesome learning new things with you guys too.
So much fun. It's been great. And another little aspect that I've been doing with this along the way is to have people also join in and actually have their own name tags made. I forgot to put on my name tag tonight. With these things, I've had a bunch of folks, Dan Scheer, for an example, over there. You can download these. My buddy Don Weiberg and Jerry Costello, and there's John Keever and David Halber and Robin Pierce, who had put that over there then as well. Let's see, I had then seems like there was Mark Rich, and there's Harriet Jacobson with her name tag and everything. So the cool thing is, we're all kind of joining in right now since we really can't be together physically, but you guys being here tonight has made this just like as if we are as close as we could possibly be in a virtual environment. And it's just been a great time, a great conversation, just a lot of fun, and everybody. Yeah, a lot of applause, and it's really great. Everybody's had a good time. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being my guests then tonight. This has been another wonderful time. I know some other folks are going to be watching this who didn't get to see it all in real time. I know Jamie Salinas was kind of late whenever he got in on this. He's going to have to come back and watch the video later of that. So anyhow, thanks very much. I appreciate it. Next week, we're going to be having 3 more great guests. It's always hard to top each week, and I don't think we really top them. We just kind of keep on moving over there then too. So Thank you, Don. Again, Weiberg. Yes, was a fantastic evening. A lot of fun. I want you to hang around and watch this video to see who we've got coming up then for next week. And so I think, let's see if I got, here it is. Yes. So until next week, over there, it was Mario the Magician. That's him. Mario. That's Mario. Where's your mustache? You need a mustache also,
Take care, guys.
Doug Scheer and Julian Franklin. By the way, guys, after I end the podcast, if you'll just kind of hang on I'm going to take you back out of this for just a second, and then but hang on and be in the back room over there. Says we again next week, if everybody will just come back, we're going to be having another great evening next Thursday then as well, and then I'm going to take off a week because I got another show that's coming up the following Thursday. But anyhow, thank you guys again very much. I want to thank my guests again for being here. So till next week, make sure that you go and check out this week's Magic Word podcast with Rob Lake. Another great episode. You're going to love it. And next week, you're going to enjoy my guests I'm going to be having on that podcast then as well. But until then, have a great Memorial Day weekend, those of us who are in the U.S. And for the rest of the world, thank you guys very much.